What is up, everybody? Welcome to Outside the Cage. We are here with your UFC 302 recap and also some other stuff happening in this business. We kick things off with and still Islam Makhachev defeats the Diamond Dustin Poirier by submission in a fight I think everyone kind of end or how it was going to play out, but I think like now that it's ended, it was like, yeah, I could see how that just a war, and then Islam ends up dominating and ends up getting a submission.
Bro, great fight. I've got to say, Dustin made it more of a fight than I thought he would. I was watching Khabib and Dustin probably 2 or 3 times before that fight just to really try to get reads. And either Islam just isn't quite as good as Khabib was, or Dustin got a lot better and really worked at those spots, because I saw some videos on Twitter after the fact where Khabib and Islam had Dustin in very similar spots during the two fights, and Dustin did a lot better against Islam than he did against Khabib. So even though he lost, I was still impressed by the Diamond. He cut Islam, definitely had Islam, digging deep for that victory. But I've got to be honest, yeah, Islam just didn't quite look as dominant or as good as I thought he would. In the first round he did, but he definitely got tired a little bit. I will say Dustin's one of the toughest guys ever to go into deep waters with, so I'll give him that. But were you expecting a little more out of Islam, or am I kind of trip him there, you think?
No, I mean, it was kind of like I said, like priors, like, can he duplicate the toughness and the escapes and like grind it out kind of how Volk did? And I mean, for ultimately he did, I mean, for 4 rounds, for 4 rounds, he did grind that out. And he was, I mean, one judge had it 2-2 going into the 5th. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he was right there. Dustin was right there. No, I don't think that I expected more out of Islam. I mean, Dustin Poirier is a world-class fighter. Dustin Poirier is a top 25, 20 UFC fighter of all time. So, no, I mean, I think it's unfair to say you expected more from Islam. Got the win. It's a tough fight. They're never going to be easy. The fights with guys like that, with Volkanovski, with Holloway, they're not going to be easy. You can't just go in and steamroll. It's not like that. Dustin Poirier is too good to get finished inside 2 rounds. So we cashed on the over 2.5 rounds. He's too good. He's too smart. He's been there before. When you've been in the octagon with Khabib, there's not much else that's going to surprise you. So, no, I mean, I think Islam fought a great fight. I just think that we have to give credit to where credit's due, and Dustin is really good. So I don't think it takes away anything from anybody.
Well said, well said. Dude, that finishing sequence from Islam was a thing of beauty. That ankle pick he had just swung Dustin around and jumped on the back so quickly, or I guess more on the neck. But that was just impressive. And Islam did say he admitted that he had staph infection, had to stop training for a week leading up to the fight. I think he found out about 3 weeks out. Said he wasn't pulling out, though, unless the doctor forced him. So, yeah, shouts to Islam. Great main event. Lived up to the billing. Do you think Dustin Poirier, he said he's going to take some time to think about what his next steps are, if he's going to hang it up or if he's going to keep going? If you had to bet money right now, what would you say is next for Dustin?
I don't know, man. I think he has one more big fight in him. I think we deserve a fight kind of going in knowing it's his last hoorah. There's a lot of guys you can do. You can do him versus Kobe. You can do him versus Nate. Him versus Connor if Connor wins. There's a lot of things you can do with Dustin. It's just if he wants to do it. I hope it's not it. It's kind of like how we talked about like before, like when Volk was dominating and he was beating Max. It's like you just get stuck. Like Max Holloway is really good, but just didn't have the title because Volk. Dustin Poirier is really good. It just so happens to be in one of the best divisions of all time at this time. Yeah. So it's just hard, man. It's like you look at it as like, damn, like how has Dustin Poirier has never been undisputed champion? And he's so good. So I hope it's not it. I would love to see him fight a Nate Diaz, a Colby Covington, obviously a Conor McGregor. It's got to be something like that where he can kind of main event and headline. Other than that, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to see him be done. I love seeing him in there.
Agreed.
And I mean, let's be real here. Like, yeah, I understand. Like, you're probably lost the road back to the 55 titles long, and you don't really want to chase the title at 70, probably. But you just went 4.5 rounds with the pound for pound number 2 fighter in the world right now.
Yeah,
So you're
really
not
number one.
you're not far off. Yeah, like you're not far off. Like you're in
That's
the elite
fact.
tier of your sport. So
That's
it's like
facts. It wasn't that he's too old.
in any given day, you can tell me Dustin Poirier is the second best lightweight in the world, and I wouldn't argue with you.
Yeah, it doesn't get harder than Khabib, Charles Oliveira, and Islam Makhachev all in their primes. Those were the 3 guys that Dustin fought for the title. So, yeah, man, wrong place, wrong time a little bit for Dustin Poirier in terms of getting the belt in his UFC career. Here's the scorecard real quick from, oh, that's the wrong one. Here's the scorecard from Islam Dustin. I don't know if I had it. I agree with Sal D'Amato. I probably had it 3-1 for Islam with Dustin winning that 4th round. But bless you. It was a close. It wasn't a close fight, but it was competitive. I'll say that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, that's all you can ask of Dustin. He gave himself a chance going into the 5th. So you never know what could have happened there. He when he cut him, I thought he was going to have some action there.
Dude, those last 5 minutes, it felt like something special was about to happen. When Dustin stepped away from the seat back up into the center, I was like, shit, man. Even if I did lose my bet right now, I wouldn't even be mad. I cashed my Islam by sub bet. It was a sweat, but he came through for me in the end. I thought it was kind of hopeless after Islam had his first round, or had his back in the first round with like 4 minutes to go, and he didn't sub him. I was like, damn, Dustin's just not getting subbed again. But those tags are just too good. How about the co-main event? A little underwhelming, but I think it's both kind of how we predicted this fight to go. That is how Sean Strickland wins his fights. A lot of people think he's some brawler just because of the way he talks, but he's really not. He's a technical striker. He's more defensive than anything. I mean, you see when he does take chances, like at the end of the fight, he can be entertaining. He can drop people, but I think he knows that he doesn't have the greatest chin, and if he's trading with people, most of the time he's going to get dropped first. He knows where his strong points are, so you can't really fault him for it. It's on the other guy to take the fight to him.
Especially for like the guys he's fought. Like, he can't stand in there and trade with Costa. He can't stand in there and trade with Rodriguez. Like, I think that people don't give him enough credit because of how he talks and the way he acts. He just comes off as like kind of an idiot, but he's super high fight IQ.
Very, very high.
He just has so much feel in there. He just does it. All he does is fight, so he just has so much feel in there.
I got to throw this scorecard up because I was tripping balls when they read this off. And they said 49-46 Costa first.
Yeah.
That was insane. The other 2 judges had 50-45 Strickland, 49-46 Strickland. I don't think Costa won a round in there. You could have made an argument for that first round, but having Costa winning every round except for the 5th is absolutely nuts. I don't know how you could come to that conclusion.
Yeah, the judging all night, man, was not it.
Crazy. Yeah. I saw someone said it was crazy we didn't really have any robberies. There was a lot of wild split decisions.
Yeah, because it's only one person. It's only one person. Like, fuck. Everyone else, because it was so bad. The 2 had it the right way, and the one was just on rogue.
Dude, thank gosh, man. I think Joe Rogan has a good point about having more judges. Like, say there was 7 judges or 11 judges, and it just had to be more than half is who wins the fight. Just so if there is one guy like that in there, or even 2, you could still weed him out. So I think that's a solid thing to consider. I guess they'd have to shell out a little more cash, but there's plenty of that going around in the fight game right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard, but like, I don't know. And it's also just like, okay, we saw how he judged it. Now he just never gets to judge again. Like, that's bullshit. Or you have to, like, there has to be, and I don't know this if there is or not, there has to be like a head guy of all the judging or whatever. Like, bro, like, let's sit down and watch this round and explain to me how you had this Costa winning this fight.
Yeah, like I know NFL and NBA referees, they have meetings after their games where they basically watch films on themselves with people from the league, and they do get critiqued on what they do wrong. So that's 100% what they should be doing, trying to take steps in the right direction. I believe that the commissions are the ones that employ the judges, and that goes state by state. So there's
Yeah.
not one overseeing body, which kind of sucks. But the UFC could definitely work with the commissions to make there, be some sort of criteria you have to meet, or you have to join maybe not a union, but something sort of like that, where you do have to watch your fights back and say, explain to me how you had Costa beating Strickland here.
Yeah.
So, and like we always say,
put those dudes on the interview panel. Go interview them after the fights. What did you see there? How did you have Paulo winning that fight?
I would love to hear what they say. I bet they would just stumble over their words and spew out some absolute bullshit.
Yeah. Kevin Holland.
Yep, the greatest gatekeeper of all time. He said it himself. He had me scared in the beginning of that fight.
Cash me out, baby. Cash me out.
You called it, Kevin Holland by sub. Dude, Mikel had me terrified when he dropped him, but it didn't really look – it looked more like a Charles Oliveira type drop where Kevin Holland was cool to go on his back right there because he looked like he was with it the whole time. He got a hand up right away. He dodged the next strike that Mikel threw after he dropped Kevin, and then Kevin immediately just started hunting for a submission. Mikel, he said he didn't tap. It didn't really look like he did, but at the same time, his arm was in a terrible direction. So yeah, I think at that point, it's just the referee protecting a fighter from his own toughness.
Yeah, maybe me and Herb had the same bet there.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, what did you think for the card overall? Not any knockouts.
No, first time in a while.
Yeah,
maybe ever. A couple of submissions. I thought the fight of the night was Mickey Gall versus Basile Hafez. That was an absolute war. And Mickey Gall was from New Jersey, so the crowd was getting behind him. Gall they both ate a lot of flush punches, just full on wind it up, land on the chin. They would just stand there like nothing happened. So it's one of the better fights I've seen all year. It might even slot in at 2 right now for me behind Gaethje Holloway.
Yeah, I like that.
What about the middleweights? Did Strickland earn himself the title shot 100% after Izzy Dricus, or is there still an opening for a Whitaker or a Hamzat?
I think if Hamzat makes quick work, I think you can make a case for Hamzat. But I kind of think that the Dricus, Strickland, Izzy, those three, it was kind of going to be a fight either way. So I don't take into account like how Sean won or not. That doesn't matter to me in this situation because I think he deserves another shot anyway. And then you also want the rematch, either if it's Dricus and Sean or it's Izzy and Sean, you want that rematch. So I think Sean's next. We talked about it before. I think ideally what the UFC wants, I think UFC wants Izzy versus Strickland, then Izzy versus Hamzat. That's what I think the UFC wants. Now, if Whitaker wins, it throws a wrench into things, then it's for sure Strickland. But yeah, the case is Hamzat if he makes a quick finish. I don't see him finishing Whitaker quickly. But you go Hamzat if he finishes quick, but if not, Strickland's up.
I agree with that. I still think a guy we've got fighting this weekend, he gets no recognition, but if you look at his record over the last 5 years, it's just as good as any of these guys. Jared Cannonier, he's a dark horse. He had one boring title fight, and they want to banish him to the abominable wasteland forever. Yeah. But I think he has action. How about some more action going on? The press conference in Dublin, Ireland for Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler was canceled suddenly. It's
Yeah.
got the whole world, the whole MMA world up in arms. Is the fight getting canceled? There's been rumors flying around.
Yeah.
Ariel Helwani stirred the pot by saying that he heard the UFC's they've been throwing out feelers, is what he said. If anyone would be willing to step in for that main event slot on International Fight Week, which obviously they'd be able to find people to do that. I'm not going to lose hope yet.
Yeah. I wanted to ask your thoughts on the whole situation because you know me, this is your expertise here. This is what you do. But before you go on and you give me your theory, I got a question. When they say they're putting out feelers, is it whole new fights? Is it we have to find someone to replace Conor? We have to find someone to replace Chandler? Like what are they trying to find feelers for?
We didn't get any more information than feelers. That's all Ariel said. But people were connecting dots. Since Dana White said they're working on a new BMF title fight, he said that in the post-fight presser right after 302. Some people were suggesting maybe they do a Max Holloway versus Michael Chandler for the BMF or something like that. I don't really see that on the cards because
I think if it's International Fight Week, you have to have a title fight if it's not Conor McGregor.
I agree. I think Max versus the right person in the BMF slot would do the trick, but Michael Chandler's just not.
So what do you think? What do you think? Conor's not it? Conor's out?
I still think he's going to fight. I don't know why they would cancel the press conference in Ireland. They said they were rescheduling it, so we'll see if it actually does.
My thing is this. If it was just canceled because some out the blue shit happened and the fight was still on, why don't you just come out and say the fight's still on? We just cancel the press conference. So something tells me the fight's, as of right now, the fight's not on.
I hope not. Yeah.
Guy, I never believe he's gonna fight until he's in the octagon. Every time he does this, I never believe it. I never believe it until he's in the octagon. I'm done. I was done a couple years ago, like getting excited, and then he backed out or wouldn't sign the deal. I wasn't doing that no more. So I already know. So it doesn't bother me one bit. I expect this.
You're right. You never did have your hopes up until he makes weight, at least I would say. But fuck, man, I wanted to see Conor, not even because like I think he has a chance at making a title run or anything like that, but I wanted him to go out on top. Or at least go out with a better fight than breaking his leg. Either go out on his sword or go out with a W. Michael Chandler's got to be sick to his stomach right now because he had so much buzz going before
He waited.
Yeah, I'm sure he still made some money from coaching the Ultimate Fighter, but he would have had a couple $50K bonuses mixed in there by now. He had one for every single fight he's had so far. Brutal. We're gamblers, though. Can't say we wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know unless you're in that spot.
Let's talk about the show that these two starred in last. Apparently, Tough aired tonight or is airing currently. I have no clue about it. Shevchenko and Grasso. I don't even know the divisions. I don't know anything. Terrible marketing. No one knew. I'm not going to say terrible coaches, but we could have done something different there.
Yeah, so I tuned in. It was going on right before we hopped in the air right now. So it's an international type thing. Most of the fighters are from other countries. I think there's a few from America on there. And it's two guys divisions. We've got 185 and 145. So I like that. Good divisions. Guys seem pretty cool. No guys with loose screws, it seems like. Everyone seems pretty locked in. They're there to feed their families or follow their dreams. It sucks because the show has lost a lot of buzz. I still like it for what it is. I say it all the time. I'm an easy customer. If you give me some solid fights, some cool training footage, and a couple backstories.
Yeah, I think it's unfair for people because they want it as a reality show. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of in that same boat too, where I was kind of underwhelmed with the Conor and Chandler season, but it's like I thought about it like, why were you underwhelmed? I was like, well, I thought it'd be more entertaining. Well, like it's not a reality show. Either shit was gonna pop off or it wasn't, and just didn't pop off. Like there's nothing wrong with that. So I understand it, but I just think the marketing could be better. And like we talked about last time, like I think the reason that I'm kind of off Tough is because winning Tough used to mean something, and you were like on a pedestal and you were on the next. But now if you win it, we don't hear about you.
No, Brian Battle is probably the best recent Tough winner from the last 5 years, and he's solid, but I don't
like
think
where's Muhammad Usman?
Yeah, facts. Or shit, I can't even remember a lot of their names. Killer Miller, she hasn't had a great start at all. Brad Katona fights on the prelims on Saturday.
Yeah.
I think Dana White Contender Series is a main reason that the Ultimate Fighter doesn't get as many top prospects now. Because
that's
the
thing too. It used to have to like go a route of Tough, but now there's
so the best way
fighters. There's so many good fighters that just go right to the UFC or Contender Series and then on the UFC. Like Raul Rojas was never on Tough. Like all these young guys were never on Tough. Like Omar Morales, and they're just like right away. So it's like it's different. Like I don't know. I think it's social media obviously played a part into it. There's other ways of getting seen now, getting signed, but that's also a big part of it too. Like I don't think Tough is necessarily the best young fighters anymore that it used to be.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, Matt Serra literally competed on Tough for a welterweight title shot against GSP and then beat GSP right after Tough. There's no chance that anyone from the last 5 years could just come right out of the Ultimate Fighter and beat a champion. I think another reason it's not as entertaining now is just because fighters are taking fighting more seriously than they used to. When the show first started 15 years ago, or they said 20 years ago it first started, it was a lot more guys with loose screws on there who just wanted to enjoy the open bar all day and act like a nut job and get away from reality for a few months. And maybe there were a few guys there that were ridiculously locked in trying to make it to the UFC and become a pro fighter. But now 95% of the guys are ridiculously locked in. So they're not going to be acting all crazy in the house, fighting each other, pulling insane pranks, doing all that entertainment stuff that really made the show what it was. So I hope there's still a small little slot for Tough. Maybe they'll try to find kind of a niche. Like even guys like Suga or a Bo Nickel, if there wasn't Dana White Contender Series, they might have looked at the Ultimate Fighter as the number one way to get popular and get on the map, and they might have went and done it. It just, why go live away from your family and everything for 3 months when you could go fight on a Tuesday night on the Contender Series and get a contract right there?
And it's just also like if the reality is this. It was made for it to be a reality show. That's what bottom line. So now it's like if there's no of those like interesting interactions or scenes or nothing crazy happens outside of the cage, like why do we need an hour show for?
Yeah, that's kind of what it's been feeling like for the last few years. I haven't watched it, but I know Power Slap does a similar thing to the Ultimate Fighter, like a reality show. And I'd be willing to bet that one's more entertaining outside of the combat sports aspect of it, because those are guys like the OG Tough contestants 20 years ago where they are just screws loose nut jobs. So maybe that'll kind of start to become a good reality show for the UFC. I am happy that we got something in the middle of the week, and then the Contender Series, July, August. I'm really excited for that. We've got one of Tim's guys, Tommy Gunn. He's on their YouTube channel. If you ever check out the Red Hawk, he's a dog. He's had a few knockouts. I want to say he's like 6-0 or something like that. And he got his call for the Contender Series. A few other really promising guys. So I'm very excited for that.
Yes, sir. I'm very excited this weekend for Cannonier versus Nazardini Imavov. Big one here. You're high on the Cannonier train. He's an underdog, plus 105. Are you going to throw something on him?
Yes, bro. Big time. I mean, common opponent here, Sean Strickland. Jared Cannonier beat him 2 fights ago. And Imavov lost to Strickland 3 fights ago. And I think Strickland made Imavov quit, I want to say. He kind of just threw in the towel. And it's not like Cannonier whooped Strickland or anything like that, but it definitely was a back-and-forth 50-50 fight. So I just think Cannonier's on another level. We saw him absolutely butcher Marvin Vettori in his last time out. He's had a long break. I think the reason that the line is what it is because of the age difference. Boom. Got it right here. Imavov, 29 years old, in the athletic prime. Jared Cannonier, 40. But I think Cannonier's proved that he's kind of just a genetic athletic freak, where him at 40 might not be the same as most guys at 40. How do you feel about this one coming into it?
I'm torn. Like I say, I think there's levels. I think Cannonier is better, but just that age aspect. 40 years old, obviously he's at a high level, but I don't know how long he can keep doing it. So I see that age difference and I see that height difference and I see that line and I'm just like, everything wants to go Imavov.
Yeah, because it is tough because Imavov's been getting better in his last few fights. His fight IQ's been improving. He's been learning to use that range more, and he does have a long range on Cannonier, but the reach, Cannonier's got the reach advantage, so he does have some freakishly long arms. You could even see it in the picture right there.
Yeah.
But I've got to stick with my guy Killer Gorilla here. I've been a big fan of him for a while now, and I hope he gets the job done. I'm excited.
Who does he look at next if he gets this win, do you think?
I think you've got to throw him in that pool with the Whitaker, Strickland, Hamzat, Dricus, Izzy.
Yeah.
Or him versus Brendan Allen might be a possibility because Brendan Allen is on a huge winning streak. I want to say it's 6 or 7 now, and his last win against Chris Curtis was pretty decent. I thought Curtis might have won, but that might be a solid option. I don't think Cannonier would really want to fight down like that. I think he does deserve a big name, especially because he's fighting Imavov right here.
Yeah.
I mean, his fight with Whitaker, it was close before Cannonier broke his arm. And his only 2 losses of the last 5 years, I believe, were to Whitaker and Izzy. And they were both decisions. So not like he's really had a real bad loss over the last few years.
Yeah.
And in that Izzy fight, remember that nasty eye poke in like the first or second round? I know you're an Izzy guy, but that was a fight effector, I think.
Yeah, I was with the punch.
I guess we'll never know. I am excited for the return of Dominic Reyes. He had one of the quickest drops, I would say, in maybe in UFC history. I don't know. So he started off his career 12-0, and then he took on John Jones for the light heavyweight title, and he lost a pretty close fight. It was a unanimous decision, but there's a lot of people that think Reyes won. I think John did get the last 3 rounds, but that 3rd round was very close. And then after that, he got finished 3 times in a row, I believe. Yeah, he got finished by Jan Blachowicz, Yuri Prohaska, and then Ryan Spann with the jab. He hasn't fought since the end of 2022, so it's been almost 2 years since he last fought. How do you see the return of Dominic Reyes going here against Dustin Jacoby?
I like the matchup here. You know, I'm a big Dustin Jacoby guy. But I just don't trust his chin, dude. He went out sad. He went out bad.
Reyes? Yeah,
Reyes.
Yeah. That last one against Spann, it really was just a jab. And Spann does have not superhero power. That's his nickname, but he does have a lot of power. But yeah, it was literally a jab that Reyes just kind of stepped into.
Yeah.
And 2 former college football players here. They both played in college and then made the transition over after that.
Yep.
I think there's a chance that Reyes could just use his skill and experience to get the job done here because I think he is a higher level fighter than Jacoby. But like you said, it's just really hard to trust his chin.
Yeah.
What are those odds again? Plus 180 for Dominic Reyes. Jacoby minus 220 favorite. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Gonna be a great weekend. Underrated card.
Yeah. Hopefully 3rd time's a charm for this one right here. I've got to say I still like Ricky Trucios as a 2-1 dog.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Raul kind of get stifled by, it was C-Rod, Christian Rodriguez, I believe. And Trucios is no slouch. I would look at putting money on him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Rosas has been just in the gym, I'm sure, getting bigger, getting stronger, more experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah, good card though. We are in the promised land now, all the way until the end of June. Hopefully, we're not sad come International Fight Week because usually International Fight Week is stacked from top to bottom. If you look at last year's card, I'll pull that up for next week's show. But remember how good last year's card was? Even the first prelims of the night, it was like Cameron Simon was on one of the first fights.
The girl that I like, what's her name?
Oh yeah, Yasmin. Yeah.
Yasmin. She lost.
Yeah,
I was sick.
you
And
call it. You
remember I was
called it.
saying she was gonna lose. Yeah, I was sick. I was sick.
She's gonna get knocked out.
Yeah.
You might have just put that one out there.
Yeah.
But can we get a finals prediction? We'll be on here sometime next week. We'll probably be like 2-3 games in.
Boston. Porzingis back. Too good. Boston in 6.
We'll see if he's really back. I hope not, dude. If Boston wins, I will be sick to my stomach.
I know.
I've got to have faith in Kyrie. It doesn't feel good for him. 0-10 against Boston since he stepped unlucky or whatever. I hope he takes a shit on that leprechaun on Thursday night though and drops 60.
Exactly.
All right. Great episode. And until next week, deuces.